Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure I welcome you all to this community awareness and musical presentation program. As you all know, we have all gathered today in support of the ongoing charitable services of the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Super Speciality Hospital in Sri Lanka. My name is Vasudha, and I will be taking you through the formal proceedings for this evening. Before we proceed, let us see how it all began. This hospital has come into existence today with the blessings of Sri Sathya Sai Baba, who tirelessly worked to alleviate the sufferings of millions around the world. Love all, serve all was his life's message, and is now the hospital's goal and guide. It is also with the blessings and guidance of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, under whose leadership and vision this hospital will provide totally free of cost tertiary care to the people of Sri Lanka, particularly for the underserved population. Selfless love shall drive all that happens in this hospital. The journey thus far has indeed been enriching with the love and support of well-wishers and like-minded individuals like yourselves. And today, we would also like to extend gratitude to the Australian Foundation for Save Sri Lanka Vishwanath Foundation for attending this program. We will now have a short video presentation.
The beautiful island nation of Sri Lanka is in the middle of an unprecedented political, economic and social crisis. These are times that have left a large majority of the population struggling with shortage of essentials such as power, fuel, food and medicines. It is during these times that Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, a social and spiritual leader from India, inspired by the teachings of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, that of love all, serve all, has resolved to lovingly embrace the people of Sri Lanka. Doing the undone and serving the unserved is the guiding principle of Sadhguru's global mission, which is now expanding to touch the lives of the underprivileged in Sri Lanka.
Inspired by Sadhguru's teachings, the Sri Sathya Sai Karuna Nilayam Foundation was established in February 2016 to provide healthcare, educare and socio-care completely free of cost for the people of Sri Lanka. The foundation commenced its work with distribution of milk and bananas in a tiny little school in Dharmapura village. In response to the need, the foundation soon expanded to implementing various other initiatives under the skill development, poverty alleviation and healthcare verticals to spread more love and joy.
In August 2017, the foundation established the Sri Sathya Sai Karunalayam Medical Center in Kirankulam, BATTICALOA with the sole purpose of providing free, high-quality and reliable healthcare to the community. Till date, over 16,000 rural patients have been provided free consultations and medicines. Even during the COVID times, the foundation responded to the need of the time by serving hot, nutritious cooked food to surrounding villages, cooked, packed and served by the staff of the foundation. The foundation recognizes that there is so much more to be done in ensuring that equitable, free and quality healthcare is available to everyone.
Thus, under the guidance of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, the foundation is embarked on a mission to build a state-of-the-art 75-bedded hospital, Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Super Speciality Hospital, Sri Lanka, where all services will be rendered completely free of cost to anyone in need. The opening of such an incredible edifice in the east of this island envisions to strengthen the government's vision of universal healthcare coverage, thus making healthcare more accessible and affordable for the rural population.
The Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Super Speciality Hospital now stands as a beacon of hope for the underprivileged all across Sri Lanka, as Phase 1 of the hospital has reached its completion. The 28-bedded facility shall offer totally free outpatient and inpatient care in specialties most needed in the region, irrespective of religion, caste or creed. The hospital shall also conduct various healthcare missions across specialties along with the Foundation's international partners from over 30 countries. The first mission to commence in August 2022 is a pediatric cardiac mission, which is an answer to the anguished pleas of desperate parents struggling to keep their child alive due to congenital heart disease as financial concerns run high. leaving them waiting for months.
Congenital heart disease continues to be a major cause of infant and child morbidity in the country. The burden and pain of congenital heart diseases on children and their families is a cruel and an unfortunate reality of our times. Healing Little Hearts is a global healthcare mission championed by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai with a vision that no child in the world should suffer from congenital heart disease.
This first mission is in collaboration with the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Centers for Child Heart Care India, which have till date managed over 177,000 pediatric cardiac outpatients and conducted over 21,500 pediatric cardiac procedures, all totally free of cost, thus bringing untold relief and joy to thousands of needy families. While the centers serve children from India and patients from abroad who have the means to travel, a great need was identified to bring healthcare right to the doorstep of needy families. It is with this intent that Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai is committed to establishing more such centers across the world.
In April 2022, the first international center was established in Fiji Islands, inaugurated by the Prime Minister of Fiji, Honorable Josiah Warenke Bainimarama, which will serve countless with congenital heart disease from the Pacific Island region. Despite the hardships faced in Sri Lanka over the past few months due to political conflicts and economic crisis, it is the strength of thousands both within the island and across the globe whose selfless contributions and tireless efforts which has lit the lamp of hope in the hearts of the Sri Lankan people. This mission is simple: to serve the needy with selfless love and to give every child the right to a safe, happy and healthy childhood.
The time to make an impact is now. The Sri Sathya Sai Karunanilayam Foundation, along with its partner foundations and trusts in over 30 countries under the leadership of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, exist to do good and to see more and more happy smiles in Sri Lanka every day by providing good health, good nutrition and good education, thereby creating a positive impact on the future of Sri Lanka and the world.
The first speaker for this evening is Mr. Gary Seaton. Gary is a businessman who has a sincere desire to see people's standard of living and education improve. His company focuses on community development as a part of their core philosophy. Gary is also supporting the Super Speciality Hospital in Sri Lanka and has come all the way from Brisbane to speak to us. I have personally known Gary for the past 8 years, and if I had to describe him in a few words, it would be epitome of positivity, inspiration, determination, and sacrifice. Without further ado, may I please invite Mr. Gary Seaton to address us all.
Thank you, Vasudha, and welcome and Aribawan for those who are from Sri Lanka. I'd just like to share with you my journey and love for Sri Lanka. As we all know, the country has been through various crises over the last 40 years, particularly with the civil war in Sri Lanka, and now more recently with an economic war that's bedeviled the country. And one thing I'd like to share with everybody is that, you know, there's a great compassion around the world for people who are living and struggling. And Sri Lanka is going through one of those periods at the moment, but it's also an opportunity. It's not the end of the world. Sri Lanka probably economically is just bouncing along the bottom, but it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to clean up the system. It's an opportunity for people to come together and help each other. We've seen all throughout history that the best of humanity is often displayed during times of crisis. And I've been to Sri Lanka numerous times in the last 12 months, and I was there as recently as 2 weeks ago. And I can see that there is people who are just willing to help one another. So those Sri Lankans that have migrated from Sri Lanka and enjoyed life in other countries such as Australia, I think it's an opportunity for those to think of their motherland, because it is your motherland, and there is an opportunity for you to give back to that motherland. Whether you are living in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane or Canada or United States, there's a few million Sri Lankan people who are living abroad and enjoying the fruits of their labour in their new chosen homeland. But I think it would be a wonderful time to reflect on your motherland, and if that touches you, to give something back. I mean, I've been involved with Sri Lanka sort of for about 40 years, and I can share one story with you. In 2002, I was staying in the then Continental Hotel along the Gore Face there in Colombo. And the day I arrived, there was an incident at the international airport where about 10 or 12 commercial planes were blown up. And that afternoon, the manager of the hotel said, "Sir, I think you should leave this hotel." I said, "Why?" They said, "Because tomorrow the naval headquarters is next to this hotel and that's going to be attacked. And there may be some problems here in the hotel. We won't be able to look after you." And I said, "Well, I have faith in God, so let's see what happens tomorrow." So I stayed in the hotel, and nothing happened that particular day. And I reflected upon, why did I come to Sri Lanka, and how come I'm in this situation where it seems all is lost? We had a number of investments in Sri Lanka, including in the tea plantations and coffee plantations. And I was contemplating whether, we should cut our losses and leave Sri Lanka. And I was meditating up on the top story of that particular hotel. And when I opened my eyes from the meditation, I saw a big vision of King Neptune. King Neptune's a Greek god, and that god rose from the sea and just put the hands out like this and indicated that, "Don't worry, I'm looking after Sri Lanka. Everything will be okay." So my faith got restored, and I've been coming back to Sri Lanka regularly. We continue to invest money and resources in Sri Lanka because we believe in the future of that country. And the other thing I'd like to share with you is that every dollar or every rupee that we're able to make in Sri Lanka, we give 50% of that, meaning 50 cents in the dollar. We donate that to different charities and social causes in Sri Lanka from our businesses there. This hospital, the video that you saw, a substantial amount of that hospital has come from well-wishers from 20 different countries, not just in Sri Lanka. Our company, Haddon Plantations, has been one of the contributors, but there's been many others. And why people have asked, did we choose BATTICALOA? Because, it's a little bit remote from Colombo, which is obviously the main city in Sri Lanka. And the reason why BATTICALOA was chosen was because during the war, we understood that there was approximately 35 to 36,000 war widows that were living in the eastern province of Sri Lanka. So we identified that need and started the construction in eastern BATTICALOA. The land was donated by a family that was living there. They had 200 acres of land, and they donated that land to construct the hospital. And we've completed, as the video said, we've completed 28 beds, which are predominantly for CHD patients, congenital heart disease. In Sri Lanka, there's approximately 3,000 children are born each year with congenital heart disease. There's a very good hospital in Colombo called Lady Ridgeway, which some of you will be familiar with. They are doing a wonderful job on CHD patients, but they're not able to keep up with the number of cases that are born each year in Sri Lanka with congenital heart disease. So if you don't get attended to, a lot of these children will not make the age of 10. If that hole in the heart or other congenital aspects of heart disease are not attended to, they will become a fatality of that disease. And Lady Ridgeway is referring patients to Sanjeevani Hospital in BATTICALOA, and the first bunch of operations were largely children that came from Colombo. And we will conduct our second round of surgeries will be in December and January, where teams of doctors will be coming from India, United States, and also Australia. The hospital is one of the major projects that we've embarked upon. We're also embarking upon education, schools, homelessness, dealing with domestic violence, and a number of other social issues that are there all throughout the globe. But the reason why we're having this is to try and encourage and inspire you all to, if you have the means and the compassion for your homeland and motherland in Sri Lanka, to please come forward and be part of this renewal and regeneration for the beautiful country of Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Arvind De Silva, who is our guest of honor and who inaugurated the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Super Speciality Hospital, BATTICALOA in Sri Lanka. He is one of the game's best cricket entertainers. De Silva possessed the strengths of many of the tallest short run scores, unruffable technique, strong at cutting and hooking, an unrepentant attacker. His record is unrivaled among countrymen. His place in history secured after a match-winning century in the World Cup final. Since he was unable to travel, he has sent us his digital message. May we have the video, please?
Hi, I'm Aravind De Silva. Greetings to all of you in Australia. I'd like to take this opportunity to bring to your attention about a noble endeavour. A few Sri Lankans, together with like-minded people from more than 20 different countries, have come together to build a children's hospital in the eastern province of Sri Lanka. The purpose of this hospital is to provide surgeries to children born with congenital heart disease. Whilst more than 3,000 children are born with this condition, 80% or more of these children's parents are unable to afford the cost of these surgeries. Sanjeevani Hospital in BATTICALOA has come forward to help these children receive these surgeries completely free of cost. Since the inauguration of the hospital in August this year, children from various parts of the country have been successfully treated. My kind request to you all is to be part of this noble endeavour, as I feel it is our duty to help our children and fellow Sri Lankans in this hour of need.
Thank you. The following video will contain details about the projects happening in Sri Lanka. May we have the video, please?
Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai is a social and spiritual leader who has established several institutions of service in the fields of education, healthcare, and nutrition in India, and is spearheading service projects in about 33 countries across the globe. The guiding principle of Sadhguru's global mission is doing the undone and serving the unserved, which is further showing forth in the beautiful island nation of Sri Lanka. Ever since February 2016, Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Foundation in Sri Lanka has been serving the neediest of the needy by implementing various initiatives under the skill development, poverty alleviation, nutrition, and healthcare spheres of service. The foundation established a completely free of cost Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Medical Center in August 2017 at Kirankulam in the Batticaloa province, which is home to 30,000 war widows and their children. The medical center has served about 16,000 rural patients with high quality and reliable treatment till date. While the medical center continued its consultation and outpatient services, the foundation recognized the need to expand its healthcare embrace to many more who needed specialized services and thereby strengthen the government's vision of universal healthcare coverage. Congenital heart disease, or CHD as it's called, is one of the main causes of infant deaths in Sri Lanka, and every year around 3,000 children are born with this heart disease. Many succumb to it as surgery is prohibitively expensive. In the eastern coast of Sri Lanka, the story is even more grim, as there are no hospitals which treat children with any kind of heart anomalies. Thus, under the guidance of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, a 75-bedded state-of-the-art super speciality hospital, Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospital, was envisioned to provide equitable, free and quality healthcare to all. The first phase of the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospital, with 28 beds, was inaugurated by Mr. Aravinda de Silva, former international Sri Lankan cricketer, in the presence of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai on the 9th of August 2022. Healing Little Hearts is the primary healthcare mission championed by Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, with a success story of healing about 22,000 little hearts through invasive and non-invasive procedures and conducting over 183,000 outpatient consultations and 200,000 outreach screenings, all absolutely free of cost, over the last 10 years across 3 child heart care tertiary hospitals in India under the chairmanship of Dr. C. Srinivas. The Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Children's Hospital in Fiji Islands, which was inaugurated by the Honourable Prime Minister of Fiji, Mr. Josiah Vorenke Bainimarama, in April 2022, has thus far conducted 81 pediatric open heart surgeries and 2,095 heart screenings completely free of cost. Emboldened by the experience of saving little hearts every single day, 6 children who were suffering from various conditions of congenital heart diseases received their gift of life in August 2022 as part of the first pediatric cardiac mission in Sri Lanka. The time to make an impact is now, and the Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Foundation, along with its partner foundations and trusts, under the leadership of Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai, exist to do good and more good by healing and empowering lives in the spirit of one world, one family.
Our next speaker is Mr. Menuka Athukorala. Mr. Menuka is the CEO of Hatton Plantations and Lotus Renewable Energy. Both companies are public listed companies on the Colombo Stock Exchange. Mr. Menuka and his team at Hatton Plantations have assisted the Sanjeevani team, led by Penny Jayawardene, daughter-in-law of the former president of Sri Lanka, in building the hospital in Sri Lanka. Mr. Menuka has pledged his life to serving the people of Sri Lanka. May I invite you on the stage, please, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Iboan. Just landed yesterday morning. So yeah, it's wonderful to be in Australia. It's a pleasure to be here as well. A special moment in my life. Thank you, Ananda, for inviting me. So Gary put the foundation to the story which I want to tell you all today. Yes, we as a company, we donate 50%, or I think more. Gary did not come out with the figures properly. I would thank Gary for inspiring me as well in my life. We are not used to, in the private sector, in Sri Lanka, they live a very posh kind of a life, and, they spend money lavishly and, etc. But, yeah, Gary showed me the path. And Gary is a person who gives 100% of his earnings in Sri Lanka. He doesn't take a cent to the worthy cause of the hospital project and all other projects. So that's how Gary has shown us the path in our life. So I've been working for Gary for the last 22 years or so. So here I am, born a Buddhist, but, we work with all kinds of walks of life people in the country. So when it comes to the hospital, it was very, it's amazing, and it was wonderful to see when this 9 children were selected for the heart surgery. So we never wanted, from a particular religion or a particular region of the country, but so much so that LRH got these 9 children from around the country, and with all religions were represented. That was not selected, actually, it happened coincidentally. So it's your child, it's my child, anybody can get into this situation. I was highly taken up when I saw the videos. I could not be there physically when the surgeries were taken place. But when I saw the videos, it was amazing. That's something that, a feeling that you cannot get for money or with anything, whatever you do in life. I think you have to see it.
So your child is the first child of this hospital, the blessed child, okay? The whole team, Ransula, is just going to come out of the ICU, okay? All done. Where is Auntie? Where is Auntie?
Auntie is somewhere sitting.
So thank you, team. Well done, team.
That feeling you get in life is, I can't explain. Because the story is that I'm a bit of a hot-tempered guy. When I put the hospital in place, so we had only, if I'm not mistaken, about 2 weeks. The structure was there, but we didn't have even the tiles, nothing. Tiles were banned in Sri Lanka to import. So we had to import, but still we got it from India, and then we put up the hospital. And the day of the opening, the inauguration, we did all that and then myself and my manager operations, ex-army guy. So both of us walked in the morning, or we came in the vehicle. Even our vehicle was not allowed to take in. So I got, really mad. Okay, I thought, hey, I put up this hospital, I did everything, I can't walk in. I said, okay, fine, and I just, but actually I had I was a bit disheartened about this incident. But the moment you saw that video, that all that, I was thinking, why did I get this anger even at that time, doing such a wonderful job, putting up this hospital, helping to put up the hospital. But why did I get into that mood? But the moment that I saw from that day up to today, coming all the way here today to address you all, is to get or give you all the actual situation there in Sri Lanka, what's happening in the hospital, so that you can help your motherland, can give back something to the motherland, and to take care of our own children back in Sri Lanka. And also I should thank Swami for the guidance, and also how Swami does things is I mean, it's unbelievable. Again, I mean, these are all small stories, but when you put together, it's a bigger picture, bigger story that you can see. So even this hospital matter, we organized a meeting. That was in first week of July at Ministry of Health. So I didn't know direct LRH. I didn't know anybody for that matter. So again, myself and my manager operation, we walked in. And then there was a fuel crisis, as you all know. So our main weapon, or the main trump card, was the fuel, because I had enough fuel. I was able to get fuel for my company operations with the PR we had. So I normally get about 3 buses per week. So I had enough fuel in my plantations. So that was the main trump card that I had. Okay, I thought, okay, I'll play this as and when necessary. But anyway, Swami does things in such a way. This guy, Dr. Vijay Surya, he was just seated on a corner during the meeting, but he was the director, LRH, head of LRH. So secretary said, okay, we'll support you all, we'll give you all anything what you want, all that. But this guy slowly came up and said, yeah, I'm director LRH. So we knew exactly whom to talk to. From there onwards, we said, sir, if you want anything, tell me how you got fuel, you have any problem, we will take care of you. From that day up to now, I mean, he has given us the fullest support to take this mission forward. If not for Dr. Vijay Surya, this wouldn't have happened in August 2022, 10th of August. No way. So, but the miracle that happened was how Swami put us in connection with Dr. Vijay Surya. He was he's a God. He's a living God. He did everything that could have been done to put up this hospital and to get the children's surgeries done. So that's how, the small, little hospital or the entire thing came up. So that's the journey, starting from Dr. Vijay Surya to importing stuff that cannot be imported, and then ultimately this wonderful 6 lives were saved, and balance 3, I think they will be sent to India because there were some problems during the latter part. They were having fever and other complications. So we have decided to send them to India. So it's a mission. So the doctors from India, USA, they come, they do the surgeries, and then they go back within 14 days or 23 days, that particular period. So we will be sending the balance 3 children to India for surgeries. Yeah, so that's it. Back in Sri Lanka, we have this depreciation of rupee, this, that, everything. But there's one thing that I've learned from Swami. There's one thing that doesn't depreciate. It's love. So thank you very much. So with that, I say love all, serve all. And I look forward to see your support back in Sri Lanka. Please visit when you are in Sri Lanka. See this beautiful hospital and see what we are doing and support us. Thank you. And Saira.
Thank you again, sir. Next, we are extremely fortunate to have Guru Sridhar Chari and Visahan here with us today, who will be performing a Carnatic musical presentation. Guru Sridhar has a rich musical background, imbibed through his mother and furthered by many years of musical training in the art of mridangam. In 1994, Guru Sridhar established the Laya Vidya Center, and in recognition of his services to the community, he was awarded the Victorian Multicultural Award of Excellence in 2011. Visahan is a student of Guru Sridhar. Please make them feel welcome.
Thank you, Vasudhaji. God has given us mostly two of everything except for the heart. And there's only one heart, and it's great to see this, the Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Hospital, doing great service in the remote part of Sri Lanka, and so many people basically supporting it. We think with our brain, but we love with our heart. And on that note, I'd like to thank Nandaji, Vasudhaji, Gary, and other people who have been here, who have been instrumental in organizing this awareness program. Ananya, who will be doing the Talam today. Ananya, myself, and Visahan basically be presenting a few Carnatic songs. For those of you who haven't seen me perform on the flute, now we are seeing. So we start off with a spring, a ragam Malaya Marudam, which actually resonate very well with being on the shores of the ocean. And we move on next to Brindavana Saranga, Kamalapta Kula.
so much. Could I please request you to make that a lot louder? With a big round of applause. Thank you. Indeed, this is an incredibly special evening as we all gather together with the same cause in mind. Our next speaker is Mrs. Francis, wife of Mr. Gary Seaton, who is also a part of the mission of spreading love, compassion, and selfless service to the people of Sri Lanka. May I please invite Mrs. Francis to address us all.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about my journey. I say it's a privilege because, this time of my life as I'm getting older, being able to have the closeness and the joy of being in the presence and working with Satguru Madhusudan. He was a devotee of Sathya Sai Baba, and in 2019 he became self-realized. And on that journey of self-realization, what he is doing is teaching us how we can become self-realized. And we see these projects as something outside ourselves. In actual fact, Satguru has 65 projects going on in the world at the moment. And each one of those projects is just as glorious, just as magnificent, and just as full of love as this hospital in Sri Lanka. My first experience was maybe about 10 years ago. I went to the Raipur hospital, and I think I wept for a whole week after that. And I said to Gary, I don't think I can ever be the same again. Because what I saw there was so transforming for me. It was transforming because I never saw anything like that in the world, where everyone who was working there, everyone who was serving, was doing it from a place of selflessness, with the realization of who is the other. There is no other. Once we tap into that eternal love, you can't have differences of religion, of people, of creed or race. We feel just as passionately for these children in Sri Lanka as we do for our own children. In fact, Gary and I have 9 children to share this lifetime with, and about 13 grandchildren, I think. kind of. So we have a very big personal family, but the love that we have for them is equal to the love that we have for every one of these children that is being saved. And so when we come before you presenting this project, it's not about the project. It's about your self-transformation. That if you have this opportunity and this privilege to abundance in your life. In fact, I remember a conversation Satguru had with Gary one day, because Gary has hydropower stations in Sri Lanka. And he said to Gary, have you ever made a drop of rain? Gary said, no. He said, then who do you think has made the rain? God, of course, or cosmic energy, or whatever you want to call it. So you are making a business on what God has provided. And it's the same for all of us. whatever gifts God has given us, whatever we have been provided with, has actually been a gift. Who we are, the way we are in the world, our jobs, our abundance, or any of it, it's all given to us. And so what we have here is this opportunity of really sharing whatever has been given to us, whether it's a skill, whether it's a talent, whether it's, financial abundance, whether it's love. Love is at the core of all of this, and that is the opportunity we have to be involved in the greatest love story on earth. One of the other wonderful projects that I got involved with was educating the girls in India. And a lot of those girls would have been married off, at a young age. And Satguru has literally taken them from their poverty, from their villages, and given them a state-of-the-art education. And I mean, how glorious is it for me as a mother and having daughters to see these opportunities really play out in the world? Because no longer is your life about this one family that you have, but the whole world is your family. Every one of those girls that gets educated, that gets broken out of the cycle of poverty, is my story. And that is the opportunity we have tonight. That every child that is saved is actually our story. And that's basically, I think, all I have to say. I was also thinking that maybe some people have some questions they would like to ask, or everyone's very quiet. I didn't mean to bring you into silence. But really, it does make you silent when you contemplate the enormity and the privilege it is to have someone like Satguru following in his master's footsteps and doing all this work under the banner of his master, Sathya Sai Baba. And I remember on the 24th of April, we were in Fiji, and that was when we were going to do the first operation there. And he said, I want the 21st of April to be a celebration. What greater celebration can I give my guru than this work that I am doing? And I think maybe that's the story for all of us. What greater celebration can any devotee of God give than to serve mankind? And so these projects are really just that opportunity for our self-transformation. That's it, Nanda.
Thank you, Francis. Next, we have some Sinhalese songs by Dhanushka and Sam, who have been known in the Sinhalese community. They've asked me not to say much, so now the stage is theirs.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here tonight. And we're going to be singing some of the Sinhalese songs for your entertainment. And when it comes to Sinhalese songs, we can't forget Baila songs. And he's one of the Bailas, done by late Mr. Desmond De Silva. And for your entertainment, it's about Banda, who went to Colombo, and who got mesmerized by Colombo's action back in the day. Thank you. We need a little bit of support from you, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful.
යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට ගනිම්බර බාගේ බඳින්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට ගනිම්බර බාගේ බඳින්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට Love you. කොළඹ නගරේ මගේ බණ්ඩෝ බජාරකේ මම සැඬෝ බින්කුණ්ඩෝ කුරුකුණ්ඩෝ රජ්ජුරුවෝ මම බණ්ඩෝ ඒ බණ්ඩෝ යම ගොඩෝ කොළඹ වෙසක් බල බණ්ඩෝ සුදු බණ්ඩෝ කළු බණ්ඩෝ කොළඹ ගැහැණු ලස්සන දෝ යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට ගනිම්බර බාගේ බඳින්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට බණ්ඩ කොණ්ඩේ බැඳලා ජයට නැමි පනාව ගහලා උඩට ස්වීට් රෙද්ද ඇඳලා බණ්ඩ අන්න බණ්ඩ යනවා කොළඹ ඩබල් ඩෙකර් යනවා පාරේ අයින් වේ අම්මයි යෝදියේ මාරුනොත් මයි මැනිකේ මම් මැරෙනවා කොළඹ නගරේ යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට ගනිම්බර බාගේ බඳින්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට ගනිම්බර බාගේ බඳින්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට පාර දිගේ එල්ලි බල බල මහ පාරේ හරි කලබල යමම් බණ්ඩෝ වෙසක් බලන්ට. Thank you. That's the story of Banda who went to Colombo. Okay. Here's another Baila song. Rosa malakui nelum malakui ලස්සන වේ හමන සුළඟයි ගීතරාවේ ඔබගේ වගේ මගේ කිරිල්ලි ගියා ඉගිල්ලි රෝස මලකුයි නෙළුම් මලකුයි ලස්සන වේ හමන සුළඟයි ගීතරාවේ ඔබගේ වගේ මගේ කිරිල්ලි ගියා ඉගිල්ලි මන් සෝකෙමයි රෝස මලකුයි නෙළුම් මලකුයි ලස්සන වේ මම එනකොට ඔබ ඉඳන් මග බලා ලස්සන ඔය ගැස්සෙන ඔබේ අත්හටු සලලා ආදරේ ආදරේ කිය කිය ඉඳලා මට නොකියම ඇයි කිය වනයට පියාඹලා වනයට පියාඹලා වනයට පියාඹලා ඇයි කිය වනයට පියාඹලා ලස්සනට විපුණු වනමල් ගල් පීරන දියවැල් මම ආස කරන මැණික් කැටේ නිල් දුර ඇත කැලේ ගල් ගුහාවක ගෙවනවා කල් ලස්සන මගේ කිරිලි සුරතල්. Thank you. සුපුන් චන්ද්‍ර දිලි අහසේ තරු නැග එද්දී රැල්ල පෙරලි ඇවිල්ලා සුදු ඇල්ල සිබෙද්දී සවන් පිනන මතු කී කුවනට එක් වෙද්දී ඔයා ඇයි තනියම කිරිල්ලියේ කැලේකට වැදී කැලේකට වැදී කැලේකට වැදී ඇයි තනියම කැලේකට වැදී ලස්සනට පිපුණු වනමල් ගල් පින්න දියවැල් මම ආස කරන මැණික් කැටේ නිල් දුර ඇත කැලේ ගල් ගුහාවක ගෙවනවා කල් ලස්සන මගේ කිරිලි සුරතල්. Thank you so much. ඉර බැස යන්නට මත්තෙන් කූඩුව සොයලා පෙර ඔබ එන හැටි පේනම තාම නැවිලා එන්න කිරිල්ලියේ වහා පියඹලා තාමත් මගේ කූඩුව ඔබ නිසාම ඇරිලා ඔබ නිසාම ඇරිලා ඔබ නිසාම ඇරිලා කූඩුව ඔබ නිසාම ඇරිලා ලස්සනට විපුණු වනමල් ගල් පීරන දියවැල් මං ආස කරන මැණික් කැටේ නිල් දුර ඇත කැලේ ගල් ගුහාවක ගෙවනවා කල් ලස්සන මගේ කිරිලි සුරතල් ලස්සනට විපුණු වනමල් ගල් පීරන දියවැල් මම ආස කරන මැණික් කැටේ නිල් දුර ඇත කැලේ ගල් ගුහාවක ගෙවනවා කල් ලස්සන මගේ කිරිලි සුරතල්.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The next song I selected has been popular in Sri Lanka as well as in India. Hope you know the story of Surangani. Yes, so you can sing along with me if you know the chorus. I think most of you know Surangani chorus. Okay, let's go.
Awesome. Everyone. Surangani, Surangani, Suranganita malu genava. Malu, malu, malu meva tangenapu malu. Suranganita malu genava. I want everyone to sing. Surangani. Beautiful. So I'm not going to be singing Tamil versions. I'm going to be singing the Sinhalese version. Lajja natta me pare andanne watim pitin senaga piranawa oya andanawa oyage as ratu wenawa malan inna matat andanawa Lajja නැද්ද මේ පාරේ අඬන්නේ වටින් පිටින් සෙනග පිරෙනවා ඔයා අඬනවා ඔයාගේ ඇස් රතු වෙනවා බලන් ඉන්න මටත් ඇඬෙනවා සුරාංගනි සුරාංගනි සුරංගනීට මාළු ගෙනාවා මාළු 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 මේව දැන්ගෙන අපු මාළු සුරංගනීට මාළු ගෙනාවා මොකද මන්ද මේ මාළු නොගන්නේ කේන්තියෙන් බලා ඉන්නවා එපා කියනවා ගෙනාපු හින්දා බනිනවා මගේ ඇඟේ මාළු නටනවා මොකද මන්ද මේ මාළු මාළු නොගන්නේ කේන්තියෙන් බලා ඉන්නවා එපා කියනවා ගෙනාපු හින්දා බනිනවා මගේ ඇඟේ මාළු නටනවා Everyone say Surangani One more time Surangani Surangani, Surangani, Surangani tamalu genava. Malu, 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 me dangenapu malu. Surangani tamalu genava. Surangani, Surangani, Surangani tamalu genava. Malu, 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 me dangenapu malu. Surangani ta. Malugenava.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We all been here for a wonderful cause. Thank you, Nanda, for inviting us for the birthday cause. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
I didn't understand a word, but my goodness, how amazing were they. Please join me in applauding them the same way as they raise the tempo of this theatre. We are almost at the end of the program with the final music program by Pradesh Sivanandan. Pradesh came to Melbourne in 2010 and now calls Australia home. He acquired his basic music skills when he was in school in India. Pradesh currently works with people with disabilities and in his free time, as a hobby, enjoys singing Tamil, Malayalam, and Hindi popular Hindi songs. Pradesh is a self-taught musician and often sings at social gatherings. Please join me in welcoming our last artist for the evening.
காதல் ரோஜாவே எங்கே நீ எங்கே கண்ணீர் வழியுதடி கண்ணே காதல் ரோஜாவே எங்கே நீ எங்கே கண்ணீர் வழியுதடி கண்ணே கண்ணுக்குள் நீதான் கண்ணீரில் நீதான் கண்மூடி பார்த்தா நெஞ்சுக்குள் நீதான் ஏதானதோ ஏதானதோ சொல் சொல் காதல் ரோஜாவே எங்கே நீ எங்கே கண்ணீர் வழியுதடி கண்ணே தென்றல் என்னை தீண்டினான் சேலை தீண்டும் ஞாபகம் சின்ன பூக்கள் பார்க்கையில் தேகம் பார்த்த ஞாபகம் வெள்ளியோட பேசினா சொன்ன வாட்டி ஞாபகம் மேகம் ரெண்டும் சேர்க்கையில் மோகம் கொண்ட ஞாபகம் வாயில்லாமல் போனா வாக்கு இல்லை பெண்ணே நீ இல்லாமல் போனா வாழ்க்கை இல்லை கண்ணே புல்லோடுதான் முத்தங்களால் சொல் சொல் காதல் ரோஜாவே எங்கே நீ எங்கே கண்ணீர் வழியுதடி கண்ணே கண்ணுக்குள் நீதான் ಏನಾನದೋ ಸಾ வீசுகின்ற தென்றலை வேளையில்லை நின்று போ பேசுகின்ற வெண்ணிலா பெண்மையில்லை ஓய்ந்து போ பூவளத்த தோட்டமே கூந்தலில்லை தேர்ந்து போ பூமி பார்க்கும் வானமே புள்ளியாக தேர்ந்து போ பாவை என்ன பாவை சேவை என்ன தேவை ஜீவன் போன பெண்ணே சேவை என்ன சேவை முள்ளொடுதான் முத்தங்களால் சொல் காதல் ரோஜாவே எங்கே நீ எங்கே கண்ணீர் வடியுதடி கண்ணே கண்ணுக்குள் நீதான் கண்ணீரு நீதான் கண்மூடி பார்த்தா நெஞ்சுக்குள் நீதான் என்னானதோ ஏதானதோ சொல் Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. I am Papu's friend. Just came to support him. So he can relax a bit. Hopefully you're gonna enjoy.
जानम देख लो मिट कहीं दूरियां मैं यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ जानम देख लो मिट कहीं दूरियां मैं यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ जानम देख लो मिट कहीं दूरियां मैं यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ कैसी सरहदें कैसी मजबूरियां मैं यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ जानम तुम छुपा ना सकोगे मैं वो राज हूँ तुम भुला ना सकोगे वो अंदाज हूँ गूंजता हूँ जो दिल में तो है राह क्यों मैं तुम्हारे ही दिल की तो आवाज हूँ सुन सको तो सुनो धड़कनों की ज़बान मैं यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ कैसी सरहदें कैसी मजबूरियाँ मैं यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ हूँ यहाँ जानम मैं तुम्हारे हर एक ख्वाब में हूँ बसा मैं तुम्हारी नस्ल के उजालों में हूँ मैं तुम्हारे हर एक ख्वाब में हूँ बसा मैं तुम्हारी नस्ल के उजालों में हूँ देखती हो मुझे देखती हो जहाँ मैं यहाँ हो यहाँ हो यहाँ हो यहाँ जानम देख ला मिट कहीं दूरियाँ मैं यहाँ हो यहाँ हो यहाँ हो यहाँ कैसी सरहदें कैसी मजबूरियाँ मैं यहाँ हो यहाँ हो यहाँ हो यहाँ मैं यहाँ 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 Thank you. இளைய நிலா பொழிகிறதே இதயம் வரை நடைகிறதே ஓலா போகும் மேகம் கனா காணுமே விடா காணுவே வானமே இளைய நிலா பொழிகிறதே இதயம் வரை நடைகிறதே ஓலா போகும் மேகம் கனா காணுமே விடா காணுமே வானமே இளைய நிலா பொழிகிறதே இதயம் வரை நடைகிறதே வரும் வழியில் பனிமழையில் பருவநிலா தினம் நனையும் முகிலெடுத்து முகம் தொடைத்து விடியும் வரை நடைப்பழகும் வரும் வழியில் பனிமழையில் பருவநிலா தினம் நனையும் முகிலெடுத்து முகம் தொடைத்து விடியும் வரை நடைப்பழகும் வான வீதியில் மேக ஊர்வலம் காணும் போதிலே ஆறுதல் தரும் பருவமகள் விடிகளிலே கனவு வரும் இளைய நிலா பொழிகிறதே ஓலா போகும் மேகம் கனா காணுமே விடா காணுமே வானமே இளைய நிலா பொழிகிறதே முகிலினங்கள் அலைகிறதே முகவரிகள் தொலைந்தனவு முகவரிகள் தவறியதா அழுதிடுமோ அது மழையோ முகிலினங்கள் அலைகிறதே முகவரிகள் தொலைந்தனவு முகவரிகள் தவறியதா அழுதிடுமோ அது மழையோ நீலவானிலே வெள்ளியோடைகள் ஓடுகின்றதே என்ன ஜாடைகள் விண்வெளியில் விதத்தது யா தவமணிகள் இளைய நிலா பொழிகிறது இதயம் வரை தருகிறது ஓலா போகும் மேகம் கனா காணுமே விடா காணுமே வானமே இளைய நிலா ஒழிகிறது Thank you so much. Hello everyone. This is going to be the last song that we're going to sing for today. So we expect everyone's cooperation and we want everyone's involvement in this song. Thanks everyone. तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम जो कभी हम मिले तो ज़माना देखेगा अपना प्यार ओ मेरे यार ओ मेरे यार तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम जो कभी तो ज़माना देखेगा अपना प्यार ओ मेरे यार ओ मेरे यार तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम शायर नहीं दीवाना नहीं मैं आशिक नहीं परवाना नहीं मैं शायर नहीं दीवाना नहीं मैं आशिक नहीं परवाना नहीं मिली जब से नजर मिली जब से नजर तब से जाने जिगर मैं हो गया दीवाना मैं हो गया दीवाना अब जाने क्या होगा जाने जाना तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम Come on, everybody, come on. क्या पता फिर कहाँ कब मुलाकात हो वो हसीना से फिर दिल की बात हो क्या पता फिर कहाँ कब मुलाकात हो वो हसीना से फिर दिल की बात हो उसके जैसे हसी मैंने देखी नहीं के जैसे हंसी मैंने देखी नहीं रोकेगा क्या समाना मेरे दिल में है ताना मुझको उसे है अपना बनाना तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम जो कभी हम मिले तो ज़माना देखेगा अपना प्यार ओ मेरे यार तुमसे मिलने की तमन्ना है प्यार का इरादा है और एक वादा है जानम
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all our artists for the performances. Now, before we wrap up, I would like to open the floor for any question and answers. The team are eager to answer your questions, so I encourage you all to please take up this opportunity. May I please invite Mr. Gary and Mrs. Francis to please join me on the stage.
Sairavan, good evening. My name is Ambike Palan. Gary and Mrs. Francis, your testimonies were just moving and we became emotional as well. You are a godsend.
Oh, thank you.
Your service is so fantastic that we should be proud of both of you because God has given us people like you to serve in our part of the world. The small community that's present here today are mostly Sri Lankans, have been mostly involved in various other projects like orphanages and blind associations and all that. But here, your project is something very different. And I should be ashamed that this is the first time, through our good friend, I came to know about this project. It's very sad. I heard that there was some project, but not to the extent that you have explained to us, and the devotion and the dedication that you and others, including the community, have should be applauded, and we must thank Swami for those wonderful gifts. Now, my question is, we are some of us eager to help. We are involved in other projects, but in our own small way, how can we who are present here assist you or be involved in this project? And please give us some thoughts in relation to those matters. Once again, I thank you for your kindness in this matter.
You can. I just want to add one thing to this, concept of Swami's projects, because it's a twofold. One is that love and service. The other is that there are a lot of discrepancies in the world between the people who have and the people who don't have. And it's not until we have a point in our own spiritual development where a light kind of goes on and you think, everything actually that I have, which I don't need to have, I should not have it anymore because it's irrelevant. It's of no purpose. So the concept behind Swami's projects are very much based on people having purposeful lives. And when I think about depression now, which is one of the biggest things happening to us, when I went to that Raipur hospital, I said a prayer, and that prayer was, can all the parents of teenage children in the West bring their children to see this hospital? And that prayer from my heart was because we in the West, we don't really understand what poverty is. We don't understand what that immense hardship is. And we have so much, but it's not until we share it that it's abundant. To have for yourself is one thing, but to have for others is a blessing.
To answer your question, how people can help, just to give you a practical example, the children who have CHD, congenital heart disease, it costs us approximately $2,500 for each of those surgeries. So a number of people throughout the world are coming forward and saying, well, I'd like to help that family and that child to have that surgery, which they wouldn't be able to afford. I mean, it's not only in Sri Lanka, it's across the world, in Africa, it's in the Pacific, those same sort of issues there. The parents can't afford to take their children to Australia or to New Zealand to have heart surgery because they just don't have those financial resources. So the sad part about that is they just slowly watch their children get sicker and then eventually that CHD, congenital heart disease, takes their life. So what we can do, collectively or individually, that's one thing we can contribute to individual surgeries for those children. We also supply support to the families, both psychologically and physically, in terms of food, clothing, schooling, those types of things. So those people who come from Sri Lanka probably know better than what Francis and I do in terms of what are the needs. And I think one thing, that our Swami has taught us is that identify the need. And if there's not a need, don't try and, service a need that is not required. Look for a need, identify that, and then work towards solving that need. And these heart surgeries are certainly one of the needs to save children's lives, but there are many others. So hopefully I've answered your question. Nanda here in Melbourne is also coordinating that aspect of the service. So, please reach out to Nanda. Next time you go back to your homeland, to Sri Lanka, please go and visit the hospital, and that will also boost the people who are working there. They will get the idea that people are appreciating what they do. Thank you.
I just want to share a small story in terms of need, because even when Srinivas started the Raipur hospital, Swami didn't say to him, go there and open up a cardio hospital. He said, go there and see what is required. And then after he did his research, he came to Satguru and he said, oh, do you know there are so many children there with congenital heart disease? And Swami said, oh, is it so? Because that is how all of these projects have started. not from Satguru saying to us, this is what's needed. It's just that if we are in meditation and if we have a pure heart, we actually discover what is the need in the world that we can be part of. And the same happened with the Annapurna project. Every day he had that young man come to him and he would say to him, Ananda, did you have your breakfast today? He said, yes, Swami. He said, did your wife have her breakfast today? Yes, Swami. And your children, they had their breakfast today? Yes, Swami. And so he did that for 1 month. And then he said, go to that school and let me know what that school requires. And so Ananda is out in the playground and he's playing ball with one of the children. And he said to the little boy, he said, did you have your breakfast today? And he said, no, I didn't have my breakfast. My parents leave the house at 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I don't have an opportunity to have breakfast. And now, through this project, the Annapurna project, how many children are they feeding in India a day? 1 million children are having a free breakfast. And I think when we talk about projects and we talk about, yes, there's 1 million projects that we can get involved with, but often the way the NGOs are set up, there is that everything which is contributed doesn't end up where it should end up because of the system and the organizations. Why Swami can open these hospitals? Because he says, you come to my hospital, there's no administration block. There's no accounts payable. All of that is the free of charge concept, means that what is required goes immediately and straight to what you pledge to Swami.
I remember in the days when Sai Baba was alive, I watched a discourse where he spoke about a young child, and I never forgot this, that was endlessly saving his pennies for every single one of Swami's projects when Sai Baba was alive. And Baba said, this is the sort of devotion that I want, where he didn't buy something for himself because he thought, I'll save these pennies for Swami. And he came up and gave the boy a special darshan in the audience. And I never forgot that, and I was thinking about how Swami is now continuing the work through Madhusudan Sai. And at home I practice this. We don't come from a well-off background at the moment, and I focus on, when I put on the light, I think if I turn off that light, I can have more to donate to the hospital. If I don't buy a top for myself or go shopping, I can save money and frugally try to save for Swami. I'm trying to, through my sadhana, emulate that little boy that was with Swami when he was alive. And that story keeps going in my mind. And I keep thinking how you said it's for our transformation. And I thought it's such a great sadhana to have the focus of all the Sri Lankan projects being so needy and seeing the news with the whole country going upside down. And I don't have any background with Sri Lanka at all. So it's come from within me, from Swami, before anyone said anything, to support the Sri Lankan projects before even Melbourne ones. So it's become like a deep, deep spiritual practice to be connected to these projects. And I feel in my heart that that's the level that Swami wants us to go to when he says it's for our transformation. No matter how humble, he knows when you give, and you're giving for the sake of being, selfless, for that self-realisation that we're all working towards. So I also was just wondering what the next step is for the hospital. Is it to expand? Is it to have more children coming in? Is there a plan for that, or is it continuing to just? Is there a goal? Is there something being set?
I think that there's always a plan. There's always a goal. The second stage of the hospital is to complete the 75 beds. There's 28 beds there now, so 75 is the completion. And then in conjunction with that, there's the training of doctors. We need in Sri Lanka to have more cardiac surgeons. There's not sufficient surgeons to complete the required surgeries there. So in India, one of the other projects that's on the go in Bangalore is the construction of a 400-bed teaching hospital. So in India, the cost of training or becoming a doctor is as expensive as Australia. So it's $30,000 to $35,000 US a year for medical students in India. And many people just can't afford that. So this medical college in Bangalore, which is a teaching hospital, is also going to be totally free of cost. So all the doctors and nurses and health professionals and allied workers will be able to be trained in that hospital, totally free of cost. And some of those people will be Sri Lankans who will be given a free scholarship to go to India and learn how to become an orthopedic or a cardiac or another type of specialist in the medical field. So yes, there's big plans, and the question is, how is this sustainable? You know, it's one thing to build a hospital, but the more challenging thing is how to maintain a high level of healthcare and how to run and maintain those hospitals once they're operating. Well, that's the bit that comes back to us and the students and the people that have been touched by the fact that someone loves them and someone cares for them and saved their lives. I mean, you know, if we believe in karma, then those people that have been saved, hopefully when they grow up, they'll also give back to society and they'll also want to help other people. So the self-sustaining model is about that, is about love and giving back and appreciating, you know, what we have and to share that what we have in whatever way or capacity that we have. And of course, Caroline, as you said, it's not all about money. I mean, people of good nature can just do small things to help people, or they can pray for, you know, the goodness, and they can pray for people to be well and contribute. They can pray for the leaders of the country. One thing that I wanted to mention and I forgot to mention is that I often hear in Sri Lanka that the country's gone to the dogs because the politicians are corrupt. But the politicians are just human beings like you and me, but they get corrupted by the system. Who corrupts the politicians? The politicians largely get corrupted by business people. I'm a business person, so I know what happens in that world. I don't participate in that, but many other people do. And business people bribe politicians so they in return can get favours from the politicians so they can make more money. Then those people that make a lot of money in Sri Lanka, and then they park the money outside Sri Lanka. They don't leave it in Sri Lanka. They park it in Singapore, or they'll park it in Europe, or they'll park it in Australia. So this is the call that, you know, the country needs for those people that have the resources to think, you know, how I can help my motherland, how I can give back. So, and I think we all have a role to play in that, and we've all got different skills. We've all got different things that interest us. Some people may be interested in education. People may be interested in the medical field. Some people may be interested in the scientific field. Some people might just like to go out and cook meals and give those to people. So there's lots of different opportunities, and it's not just, about the hospital, but it's about a change of our consciousness and willingness to share with others what we had. And as Francis said, we can downsize a bit rather than keep accumulating. And we went for a walk this morning along the foreshore of Brighton, and some of those houses along that foreshore are huge, and there might be 6 or 7 bedrooms in some of those houses, but there might be only 2 or 3 people living there. So, those people could perhaps think about downsizing and, sharing the good fortune with some other people.
I remember Isaac Tigert saying things to us that let goodness be the new virus in the world. Because once we start seeing what goodness breeds, it can take off so that everyone feels equal. That's what we'd like to be able to see, in our lifetime, that those people who feel a calling to do something for their neighbour who doesn't have, feel a calling for that child that needs to be operated. And these are actually spiritual matters.
Got one more question over here.
Thank you for having my question. My name is Shashi. My question is very small, but then I want to make a statement on whatever you said, Francis, and whatever you, Gary, are telling me. The question is, why CHD is so common in that part of the world? So you can answer me that later on. But as you are saying, first thing, the Creator, He gave us this planet with everything. And as you said, somewhere you are producing the electricity with the water, with everything given by Creator, but taking the advantage of all those things. So we all came in this world for a reason, for a purpose. If we learn that reason, that purpose, life will become simple. But we have created more walls around us, divided the community in so many pieces, instead of making the bridges where we can reach to each other. So the time is now where we have to start creating those bridges where we can reach to others and understand what our purpose of life is. We all came with some kind of intelligence. Some is music lover, some is artist, some is something else, some is farmer. But apart from that, as whatever He has given us or Creator has given us, we have to devote some time towards that also. So I give an example. We earn so much of money for our needs and we spend it also. But if we keep some time where we can serve our Creator, and when we are serving others, like volunteering or servicing others, you think and you look at other needs. When we are earning for others, we try to create mess and create our job bigger so that we can get more money. But when we are serving others, we are only focused on happiness of others. So if we start doing that how we can make others happy, how we can make other life purposeful, the world will change. So it all starts from every individual. And that's all we have to do. Break the walls, create the bridges, and make others happy. And whatever we can give to that. I just give an example which only happened yesterday. I drive a car, but yesterday I was given a job where I was to supply some food to high school. And I was very short of time, so when I got on the phone, I told them, I'm bringing the food, but I can only spend 5 minutes in the school premises and I have to run back. So please bring 3 or 4 people who can take the food in. So when I got there, one boy made a comment, oh, you drive very flashy car. So I said, no, it's not mine, it's company car. Oh, for whom you work? I said, I work for, I only said that. And then he was surprised, amazing what I'm talking about. But if we convey that message, if we work for him or her or whoever, we will be achieving everything in life, and life will be so happy and purposeful. So I'm really inspired with you, whatever you are doing. You are a really sort of like a lighthouse to all of us, or especially to me. I can talk about me, I can't talk about others, but especially to me, whatever I have learned will go a long way with me. Thank you.
Thank you. To answer your question about CHD, it's largely, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not qualified in that professional sense, but in a layman's sense, what I understand it is mainly it's a result of malnutrition. And as we mentioned also on the videos, in Sri Lanka there's about 3,000 CHD cases a year in Sri Lanka, but in India it's 300,000 cases a year. And as you would all know, and it's probably still the case to a far lesser extent in Sri Lanka, but in India we still have the situation where a lot of young girls get married off at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15 or so, and they have children at that age. So they themselves are not mature in a physical sense, and they're giving birth to malnourished younger children. So that's still a big issue in India. As I said, it's less the case in Sri Lanka, but there's still families who are malnourished, and the children are not getting the right sort of nutrition. And on your case about the example of that, we've all been provided enough. I think Mahatma Gandhi sort of once said, and that's famously quoted, that there's more than enough in this world for everybody's need, but there'll never be enough in this world for everybody's greed. So I think that sort of, comes to your point, if we can sort of focus on thinking of others and helping others rather than accumulating things for our own personal benefit. Thank you. I think that's... Huh? You want to say something else? This always happens in our household.
No, I was just thinking, when you're a mother and you have children, brothers and sisters, and they find it very difficult, to share a toy. And you as the parent see this and you say, please, can you share? And it's so much primal in our DNA. Good people, they want to share. They want to see their children sharing. But then somehow, when we grow up, and particularly in the Western world, we put so much focus on the individualism and on, my child being brighter, my child being more beautiful, my child being... And we forget the root of what we really wanted for our children. We wanted kindness, we wanted sharing, we wanted goodness. And somehow we have to rejuvenate those values now for our teenagers, for the youth, particularly the youth in the West. I mean, we've got these problems in the East, but our problems in the West are more sinister and more deep and more sad, because we have abundance, but we don't have wellness. We don't have spiritual wellness. We don't have mental wellness, because we have taken the spirituality out of our lives. And so our children are very, very lost. I mean, which Western child wants to hear a discourse on God or on creation? So we have to even become, as a teacher, we almost have to become very modern in our delivery of God consciousness, of self-realization, of mindfulness. All of these are spirituality. But look how we have to deliver it to the youth to actually save them from themselves now. So that's the sadness of the Western world.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Gary and Francis. This brings us to the conclusion of tonight's formal proceedings. It has indeed been a pleasure having your company, and we extend our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you who has taken out their time to be here with us tonight. Of course, the importance of this hospital stands out even more so as Sri Lanka is currently facing the economic turbulence, as all services are provided absolutely free of cost. If anybody would like to participate, you can scan the QR code and make a contribution. There is also a donation box in which invoices will be provided, which is tax claimable. In case you would like to do a bank transfer, please contact Mr. Nanda, who will meet you in the foyer. We also have some craft items and chili powder for sale, and all funds will be going towards the hospital. Let us collectively pray that the upcoming Sri Sathya Sai Sanjeevani Super Speciality Hospital in Sri Lanka is a grand success for years to come, to meet the only objective of touching more lives with love and compassion. This is truly only the beginning, and together we have miles to cover. With this, I would like to conclude tonight's proceedings. Thank you so much, and have a very good night.